What's up, y'all? Back again today with a very special video. Um, I might, I might actually delete this live. I'm just randomly talking. Um, Shout out to everybody out there. Um, at this point, I don't even know why I go live. I just like to just rant and just talk. But that's what I did from the beginning of this channel anyway. So whatever. I have no reason to go live right now. I have nothing to say. I just wanted to see if anybody would be up right now and just check on y'all and just remind everyone that, life is amazing. And I'm just a reflection of you. You're just a reflection of me in some type of way. I'm not special. I just happen to be one of the people that speaks publicly. I don't really have a problem speaking publicly. I'm an extrovert, but I'm also an introvert. It's really weird. I'm very awkward in real life. I'm always worried about what somebody's thinking of me. I'm always overthinking. What up, Bryce? I just want to come and just chat. Every now and then I just come just to let y'all know I'm still here. But yeah, I just like every now and then randomly going live and just ranting, just talking. It's like 11:30 where I'm at right now. I don't know where you're at. What time is it where you're at, Bryce? You're over there in you're in Delaware, right, Bryce? Delaware. Where the hell is Delaware? Delaware. I guess that's the Midwest, right? Is that, where's The Wire? The Wire was filmed in Baltimore. Oh, that's Maryland. Are you in Delaware or Maryland? Anyway, man, Delaware is like 20 minutes from Philly. Okay. Is it mostly black people out there? Is it a mixture? What's the demographics out there in Delaware, Bryce? Anyway, I just like to come and chop it up with y'all. I did do something cool recently. Let me show you. Like I said, I just randomly just go live just to talk whenever I feel like it. I recently finished my anger management class. You see this? I was told that I need to do an anger management class to fulfill my obligations as part of my stipulations for the Texas State of Correctional Facilities and all this crap. So I just finished a anger management class, and this was like a, let me see, 3-month class. So I feel special about that. And as I've showed you guys before, this is my picture that I took when I was in prison. And this certificate here was the certificate I took as part of my stipulations to get out of prison. So I'm moving forward in life, and I guess today I want to talk about mental health, in particular, Black men's mental health. But really, we could talk about mental health in general. But I do want to talk about Black men's mental health because I am a Black man, and that is important. Mental health for Black men and for people in general is very important to be aware of what state your psychology is in, what state your mental is in. You know, I went to I don't live in the neighborhood I used to live in before I got sent to jail. And as you guys know, I was homeless and sleeping in empty apartments and stuff like that before I went to jail. But I stayed in a particular area, right? And I went over there the other day because I was off. And sometimes I like to go into that area because I lived over there for a while. And it gives me a sense of peace to be in that area. The first thing I want to tell you about mental health is it's important to know or find places or be aware of places that put you in a state of comfort. Usually it's a familiar place. Maybe it's your childhood home area, your hometown, or an area that you've lived in for a long time, or an area that you frequent, an area that you've had good memories at. Think of a place that you've enjoyed, whether you might have had good experiences, bad experiences, because the area I'm talking about, I ended up getting arrested there and everything. So it wasn't all good experiences, but that area gives me a sense of peace because there's a sense of familiarity there. So I went to this area that I used to live at last week when I was off. And I just went over there and was just in the area, you know, and it made me feel nostalgic. And I went to this corner store that, you know, I used to go to all the time to get my little papers to smoke or whatever the case. And I saw the dude, his name is Mike. He's like Saudi Arabian or something like that, Middle Eastern. Let's just call him Middle Eastern. There's this Middle Eastern dude named Mike that's at the corner store over there. And I walked in there, and mind you, most of you guys know that I used to have like long hair. I used to have dreadlocks and way down to my waist before I cut my hair and before I got locked up. And that's what most people remember me as. So anyway, I got out of jail. I haven't been really over there. I've been keeping my composure. I've been keeping low key. So I went over there to this corner store that I used to go to all the time. And I saw the dude, Mike, and he was, you know, still working there. I was like, I wonder if Mike still works here. Anyway, I walked in there, I saw him. So I kind of looked at him. I just kind of looked at him like that. And he looked at me. And then when it was my turn to come up to the counter, I was like, how you doing? He's like, what's up, man? It's good to see you. I said, oh, you remember me? And he was like, yeah, of course I remember you. And, you know, mind you, like I said, I cut my hair and everything. And it's been like 2.5 years. So I didn't expect him to remember me really. And he remembered me, and he told me some things that I'll keep off of camera for right now. But he was like, yeah, I remember you. He was like, you gained some weight, man. You put on a little weight, you know? He's like, you used to be like skinny, you know what I mean? You put on some weight. And I was like, yeah, man, I said I was in prison. I went to prison for 2 years. And we talked, and it was cool. It was cool for a number of reasons. But I just say that to say, it's important to find places that bring a sense of familiarity to you. But also, when he told me that I was a lot skinnier, he remembers me when I was skinny before I went to prison. And the thing is, before I went to prison, I wasn't really eating well. I was on the run. I was paranoid. I was anxious. You know, I was homeless. And so, of course, I was skinny, you know, and I'm still skinny. I'm still small. I'm not fat or nothing, but I did put on a little weight, you know, and I've been eating regularly. I just finished some dinner. and I'm sleeping in a bed. As you see, I'm in a home. And so I'm grateful for where I'm at in my life right now. And I have to be aware of my mentality, you know? I was so focused on trying to save the world, and I was so focused on trying to save everybody else and expose this and expose that I wasn't taking care of myself. So I'm not going to be here tonight for a long time, but I do want to encourage everybody to focus on your mental health. And this I could say this is for Black men, but it's for Black women. It's for men, women, children in general. You know, take care of your mental, take care of your spirit. And I'm not saying that to say be delusional. As a matter of fact, I don't want you to be delusional. I want you to be honest with yourself. That's the only proper way to handle your mental health, is to be honest with yourself. And at this stage in my life, I'm being honest with myself. I'm allowing things to happen that I don't like. Something that I had to realize is there's going to be things that happen in your life. There's going to be things that people say to you, things that happen to you that you don't like, that maybe you didn't choose. But that doesn't mean you have to crash out. That doesn't mean you have to get angry or overly emotional. That doesn't mean you have to react. So, yeah, I took an anger management class. And, you know, YouTube is going to screw me. They're not going to show anybody that I'm live. I guess it's late right now anyway, but I would expect some people to come in here, but it is what it is. So this is from the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to certify that Joshua Cooper successfully completed my mandatory anger management class, right? So I've been taking anger management classes. Mind you, I would have never, if you told me before I went to prison to take an anger management class or to go to some therapy or to let somebody tell me how to this and that, I would have been like, fuck you, da 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 da. But you know, going to prison changes you. If you are wise, it will change you. Not in a good way or a bad way, but I do believe a place like prison will change you if you are wise and understand that this is a period of transformation. This is a period of reflection. And I had to realize, like, you know, maybe I'm doing things, maybe I could be doing things differently. Another thing I recognize and I want you to understand, particularly as a Black man, is that because I do believe, I'm not racist. I still do believe, though, that Black men are the original man. I do believe Adam, if you want to call him that, the original man created from God was a Black man. I do believe that. And so I take that responsibility as a Black man very important, very, very seriously. And one thing I want you to recognize, Bryce, and whoever few people might stumble upon this video, I want you to understand that it's important. And I don't know where I heard this, but I heard this somewhere and I stored it in my memory, and eventually it made sense to me. This is what I did not care about before, but now it makes sense. It is important how other people see you. This is another part of the therapy that I think we need to recognize as Black men. Although you might be big and bad, you might be a know-it-all, you might be that nigga, you could beat somebody's ass, You got all this money, you got all these bitches, you got this property, you got this cars, you got this jewelry, you're popping your shit, you're a gangster, you got all these guns, nobody could tell you nothing. I want you to understand that it's important how other people perceive you and see you. And it's important to have relationships with other people. Now, when I say relationships, I don't necessarily mean romantic or sexual. You know, everybody, any type of connection that you have with another human being is a relationship. Whether it be your relationship to your boss, your relationship to your coworker, your relationship to your brother, your sister, your son, your mom, your aunt, your friend, your cousin, your relationship with somebody online. Relationships are very important, and cultivating and maintaining relationships are important, which is what I'm going to speak about as well. But one thing I want you to understand is that relationships are important, and how people see you and perceive you is important. This is something that I did not give a fuck about before I went to prison. Before I went to prison, I was like, I don't give a fuck how you think about me. You know, and still to this day, there might be a little piece of me that's still like that. You know, when I start popping my shit, like, I don't give a fuck. But the truth of the matter is important. It's very important how other people see you. For instance, I'm going to give you an example. So I work at a place with coworkers. I have coworkers in my same field, and I have coworkers in a different positions, and I have managers that are so-called above me, authority figures. Now, before I came to this understanding, I didn't care about what my coworkers thought about me. I didn't care about what my bosses or my managers thought about me. I didn't give a fuck. Like, y'all don't know me. Matter of fact, shut the fuck up. I'm that nigga. You don't know what you're talking about, and I don't give a fuck about impressing you or da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm not saying this to say that I want you to try to appease everybody or change yourself to make everybody comfortable. That's not necessarily what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, is it's important to focus on yourself, your mental health, and part of that is recognizing how other people may see you. So in the place where I'm at right now, I am very aware how other people see me. Now, I don't know how everybody sees me, but I am taking the steps to ensure that people see me as a friendly, hardworking, person that knows how to compromise, non-threatening. And how does that work? When you come into work, yeah, you might, hey, good morning, guys. Hey, good morning. How you all doing? You might sit there and make small talk with your coworker, small talk with your manager, joke with them, make sure that you compliment them, make sure that you show them that you care, help them out. Make sure that you're working hard, you're not cutting corners. And before, I never give a fuck about that because I'm like, man, I got a bunch of other shit going on. I don't give a fuck how you feel about me. But now that I'm in a more stable position and I feel like I have a little bit more wisdom, and I thought about that. Somebody told me, I don't know where I heard it, but I heard it before. Human beings are social creatures. Mammals in particular, human beings are social creatures. Social interaction is important to human beings. It reminds me of that movie, I Am Legend. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that movie, I Am Legend, with Will Smith. In that movie, I Am Legend, he was the last man on earth. And he started going crazy because he didn't have anybody to talk to. And to the point where he started dressing up mannequins and positioning these mannequins to look like human beings when he went into the store, just so he can feel some sense of community. And so I say that to say human beings have a sense of community, and it's important, your relationship with other human beings. So now I'm very aware of trying to, not that I'm trying to fake it, but I do want to make sure that this next person next to me doesn't feel threatened by me, doesn't feel like they have to look out for me, in meaning I'm going to do something bad to them or I don't give a fuck about them. So a big part of mental health, in my opinion, if your own mental health, is cultivating relationships. And I posted a video recently of my brother at a Black-owned business. Shout out to my brother Jared. He works at he's the assistant general manager at a popular Black-owned business out here in Houston called Juliet. And shout out to him. And he's my younger brother. And I haven't talked to him in over 10 years because of some family issues. I hadn't talked to him. And let me make sure hold on. Okay, anyway, I hadn't talked to my brother in over 10 years because of some family issues. And me and him never really had any beef particularly, but I was like, you over there on that side and you not on my side, and you not trying to hear me out, and you not standing on your own business, so fuck you. I'm just gonna cut everybody off. So I haven't talked to my little brother, and I saw when he was born. I haven't talked to my own little brother in over 10 years. And we recently reconnected, and I saw him for the first time recently, and it was a beautiful interaction. And it just goes back to what I'm talking about, maintaining and cultivating relationships. You know, when God created Adam in the Bible, he gave him an instruction to maintain the earth and maintain everything within his dominion, the animals, the creeping things, the birds, the land, the water, maintain it. And so I can admit that I haven't been good at maintaining the things that have been given to me. So I've let a lot of relationships go to shit. My relationships with my baby moms, my relationships with my family, my relationship with many friends, because I didn't trust anybody. And I just felt like I can do it all by myself. But now I'm focusing on maintaining my mental health, my physical health, my spiritual health, my emotional health. But also I want to cultivate, rebuild, and strengthen and maintain the relationship with certain people, whether it be this person, my brother, this person, that person. So as far as my advice to you, I want you to, a big part of your mental health journey is going to be maintaining relationships. Because when I was in prison, you have a little tablet and you can make calls and stuff. But I don't know how it is in prison in other states, but in Texas, in order to call somebody when you're in prison, you have to have their phone number on an approved list. They have to approve the people on your list. You have to put their name, their address, their phone number. They have to approve it before you can call them. You can't just get on the phone and call anybody. So when I was in prison, I recognized that I only had like one person on my approved list, literally. And some other people got 10, 20 people. They're calling their homeboys. They're calling their mama. They're calling their sister. They're calling their uncle. They're calling their homeboy and this and that. And I had one person to call. That's when I said, damn, there's something that I did. Even if this person or that person did something, There's no way that I only have one person's phone number that I could really call and trust. And I had to recognize that a large portion of the reason why that was because of my actions. You know, and I have to recognize that you have to deal with those consequences. So it's important to maintain relationships. I want to say that. Next thing I want to talk about is forgiveness, or let's be more clear. Bryce, I don't know why YouTube is always fucking with my views. Like, whatever, man. I be going on Instagram Live sometimes and seeing people's live streams. They just be digging in their fucking nose, and they have at least 100 people watching. I don't know why I can't ever get no live stream viewers. At this point, I don't care. Whatever. I just go live randomly. But Bryce asked me, is most of my fam out in Texas? I have a very small family, Bryce. And yeah, they're either in California or Texas. But my family is very small and very divided. For whatever reason, I believe it's spiritual stranglehold on my family, but none of my family gets along. There's a bunch of cliques. This person, that person clicked up. This person, that person clicked up against this person and that person. So there's no way that my family can have a family reunion without fighting. I guarantee you, if we had a family reunion and all of us were there, there would be fights, physical fights. So I'm praying on it, you know, but I'm one of the oldest men, believe it or not. I'm one of the oldest and only men in my family. So take that as you will. But the next thing I want to talk about is making amends. I have two siblings. I have a brother and a sister, and they are twins. My brother and sister are twins, not my twins. I'm the oldest one. But my brother and sister are 10 years younger than me, and they're twins, fraternal twins, brother and sister. But the next thing I want to talk about is making amends. And this is something that I learned about in the class that I was taking to get out of prison. By the way, I heard your question earlier, Bryce. I should be done with all my obligations at the end of this year, Lord willing. If it be the will of the Most High God, I'm going to be completely done with all of this stuff by the end of this year. So we'll see how that goes. But I want to talk to you as far as mental health. A big part of your mental health is going to be making amends. Now, Bryce, maybe you could look this up. What is the definition of making amends? Maybe you can look that up on Google or ChatGPT. What is the definition of making amends? Because some people might not know what this word means, but essentially it means trying to make things right, trying to correct a wrong. In other words, if you think about reparations, like a lot of Black people are talking about right now, that the government needs to give us reparations and pay us for what they put our family through with slavery and whatnot, that would be a form of making amends, trying to correct something that happened that was wrong after the fact. This is something that I learned in my class, and it's deep, you know, because the first thing is this: an apology, and I need you to listen to this closely, right? Because Bryce says that the definition of making amends is compensations, reparation, like I said, or making up for a loss, damage, or injury. It is the act of righting a wrong. So this is something that I need you guys to understand. A large part of making amends, or a large part of your mental health journey, is making amends, okay? Now, this is something that I need you guys to understand. And this is something that I had to learn in the class. Apologizing is not the same thing as being forgiven. And I need you guys to really grasp that, because that's something that they taught me in the class, and I never thought about it like that, and it really makes sense. Apologizing is different and not necessarily connected to being forgiven. In other words, you can apologize for something, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be forgiven. Now, it would be nice to apologize and somebody says, I forgive you. But I need you to recognize and understand and accept that just because you apologize or try to make amends with someone, that does not mean that they will forgive you, either right then and there and the time you think, or maybe never. You might apologize to somebody and they never forgive you. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do what you can to try to make amends. So a lot of time in our journey as Black men and just as people in general, we have a relationship that went south, whether it's our fault, their fault, both of our fault. And one day you might decide that you want to try to make it right. You want to apologize. You recognize the things that you did wrong. You want to apologize. Whether it's been 2 days, 2 months, 20 years. Now, 2 years later, you say, you know what? I want to try to make it right with this person. I understand what I did wrong. So I'm going to apologize. So I'm going to reach out and apologize. Now, you reach out and apologize, hypothetically, and they say, nigga, fuck you. You know what you did wrong, and I'm never going to forgive you. Fuck you. Don't ever call me again. Fuck you, nigga. I hope you die. Now, of course, you don't want to hear that, but I need you to understand that that's part of the journey. That's a possibility when you're trying to make amends. And that shouldn't discourage you from trying to make amends, because the whole point of this mental health journey is trying to clear your spirit and clear your slate. You want to be as guiltless as possible. Nobody's ever going to be completely guiltless, but you want to be as light as you can trying to get to heaven. So you can't die with a bunch of regrets on your mind. It's kind of like that song with Jay-Z. Jay-Z recently did a concert where he played his first album, Reasonable Doubt. And that's one of my favorite albums from Jay-Z, is Reasonable Doubt. And he has a song on there on that album called Regrets. This is the number one rule for the set: in order to survive, gotta learn to live with regrets. You know, you want to die with as little regret on your mind and on your spirit as possible. And when you know you've done something wrong to somebody, you want to try to make amends for that. It doesn't mean you have to be best friends with them. Doesn't even mean you got to kick it with them anymore. But try to do what you can to make that right, whatever that looks like for you. And you're going to have to be vulnerable. And that's another part of the mental health journey, is putting yourself, particularly as a Black man. You know, Black men, we've been through so much and we have so much pride that it's hard for a lot of us to put ourselves in a vulnerable position. It's hard for us as Black men to let other people see us as vulnerable. It's almost against our survival instincts to let somebody else see us as vulnerable. As a Black man, what? I'm gonna let somebody see me as vulnerable so they can take advantage of me, so put me in danger? I understand, but you're gonna have to understand as you gain wisdom as a Black man in America, and period, as a child of God, that you're gonna have to make yourself vulnerable sometimes. And that just comes with wisdom. And I pray that all of us can understand that. You're going to have to make yourself vulnerable. You're going to have to ask for forgiveness. You're going to have to let somebody else feel like you got it. You won. I was wrong. Forgive me. I'm sorry. I apologize. Can you please forgive me? You're going to have to do that. It's part of the mental health journey. And so these are just some random thoughts that I've been dealing with when it comes to the mental health thing. Some of the things that I wanted to impart to my people, my children, you know, because I'm constantly learning and I'm grateful to learn. Yeah, man. Our pride, like, here's another thing I think it's important for Black men to learn how to do. Bryce, it's important. It's important to learn how to say, you know what, that hurt my feelings. Even if you don't tell anybody else that, it's important to recognize that yourself. Like, my feelings were hurt. That hurt my feelings. Think about that. Really think about that for a minute. When was the last time you heard a Black man say that? You learned that in kindergarten, that you can't say that. What? That's like something a girl would say. You hurt my feelings, or even deeper, because that's the surface level. Deeper than that is my pride was hurt from that. You hurt my pride. You feel like you made me compromise. My pride feels a certain type of way about that. We don't know. We don't have the emotional intelligence as Black men to do that. And I'm not blaming us. I'm just praying that we can one day have the emotional IQ to come to these conclusions. Because this is another thing that I learned in the class. One of my classes is like, nobody just makes an action. Nobody just does. Nobody just reacts. Even if you react quickly, there was a thought process there. Something happened. You thought about it. You felt like it violated you. It went against one of your core beliefs. And now you're reacting based on your experiences or how you feel like you should react to that. Somebody stepped on your shoes, or somebody threw a gang sign at you, or somebody cut you off in traffic. Somebody cussed at you. Somebody looked at you wrong. Somebody disrespected you. Now, in an instant, you're like, oh, I can't let that happen. He stepped on my shoe. He cut me off in traffic. He flicked up his middle finger at me. He's from a different gang than me. Now I have to react this way. So we have to understand that our mind is reacting to things based off of how we have grown up and the thought process that we've established. So recognize that a lot of things that make you react negatively is because it's not that it made you mad so much. So it might have made you mad, but let's scratch the surface a little deeper. It hurt your feelings. When was the last Black man that you've ever heard? Bryce, have you ever heard somebody say that? Man, this nigga hurt my feelings, bro. That shit hurt my feelings, man. Man, this dude, this girl cheated on me, and that hurt my pride. This man was talking behind my back, and I thought that was my homeboy. I thought that was my brother, and he was over here gossiping and talking about me with some other niggas. That hurt my feelings. I was loyal to this person, and they weren't loyal to me. That hurt me. Think about that. When was the last time you heard any Black man say that? We're not even trained to say that. We don't know those words. And I believe, and of course, who am I? But these are the things that I'm offering to the collective consciousness and putting out onto the internet, even though YouTube is trying to destroy me and doesn't want me to be heard by anybody. I believe that it's important for people, in particular Black men, to say that. Even if you don't say it to somebody else, tell yourself that. Recognize that this is why you feel this way. Because a lot of times these YNs, or whatever the case, you grab your gun and you're ready to fight, you're ready to slide, you're ready to murk a nigga and all this type of stuff because your feelings were hurt. You think a nigga like NBA Youngboy, or the people who listen to NBA Youngboy, are gonna be like, you know what? I want to kill that man because he hurt my feelings. I want to kill that man because he hurt my pride. My pride feels a type of way. We don't know how to articulate those things. We don't even come to those conclusions before we just ready to crash out. Oh, fuck all that. How does it sound when a black man's pride is hurt? How does it sound when a black man, his feelings are hurt? Man, fuck all that, man. This nigga got me fucked up. Ain't nobody gonna play with me like that. I'm about to murk this nigga, I'm about to kill this nigga. Let's slide on this nigga. That's how it sounds when a black man's feelings are hurt. And I'm telling you as a black man, I think it's important that we recognize, you know what? My feelings are hurt from that. And now, from then you can make a decision. You can go murk the nigga. You can try to talk to the nigga. You can try to move around and just don't associate. Once you come to certain conclusions on why you feel the way you feel, then you can respond in a plethora of ways. But before you know why you feel the way you feel, and you just let the shit piss you off, and you don't recognize, hey, my feelings are hurt. That actually hurt me. You're gonna react negatively. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like Bryce says, black men will do damn near anything to protect their pride. And why is that, Bryce? Tell me why. Even if it's just you and me here, maybe this video is just for you and me, Bryce. And I love you, brother, and I appreciate your continued support. Bryce, tell me why it is that black men will do anything to protect our pride. I have a thought on it, but I want to know what you think about it. Why is it that you think that black men will go through hell and high water to protect our pride? Because remember, you're not going to get any black man to tell you, I have pride and you hurt my sense of pride. You hurt my self-esteem. You hurt my feelings. We're not going to say that because that makes us look weak. We're going to clown each other for that. Everybody's going to clown us. Remember, we talked about it before on that video, What More Do You Want From Me? Remember Tyrese, when he was crying about his daughter, his pride was hurt. His feelings were hurt. He was sad. These are things that you're not allowed to be sad as a black man. You know how deep that is? You're not allowed to be sad. Remember Michael Jordan cried? And it became a meme, the Michael Jordan crying face meme. Tyrese cried and it became a meme. All these people, all these black men cried and it becomes a joke. Will Smith was tearing up because his wife was embarrassing him and cheating on him. That became a joke. It's a joke when we start crying. So understand, and let me read what you have to say. Most black men just don't know how to properly articulate our feelings. And going deeper than that, the reason why we will go above and beyond to protect our pride is because we feel like expressing our feelings automatically makes us look weak. To who, Bryce? Let's dig deeper. Why do we feel like expressing our feelings automatically makes us weak? Who is going to make us feel like expressing our feelings makes us automatically weak? And are we allowed to have feelings? Are feelings a real thing? Are emotions a real thing? Did God give? I told this to somebody one time, why do we have, I never Googled it. Maybe somebody could Google it. I don't know, maybe ChatGPT knows, but why does the human being cry when they're sad? What is the biological function of the tears that come out when we're sad? Why is that? I'll look it up on ChatGPT. Maybe you guys can do the Google search for me, but it just seems kind of spiritual. It doesn't really seem, it seems more spiritual to me. Why are black men able to cry? Because you've seen them do it before, so we have the capability to cry when we're sad. Why is it a crime for us to do that? Why is it funny for us when we do that? Why are we so against doing that? These are the type of things that you're going to have to explore if you really want to get a proper mental health. So I just wanted to run some of these questions by you, and I would like to hear some. He says crying is like a spiritual release. Exactly. And I'm not sitting here telling you to just be up there with a tissue crying all day, but if we have the capability to do it, why is it a crime for us to do that? You know, how many niggas in the hood, you know, their homeboy got killed, you know, all type of trauma that we've been through as people, as Black people, or just as humans. And we're just like, nah, I'm good. Nah, shit, man, it is what it is. Think about it. Now, all of us have said that. None of us as Black men have ever said, you know, my feelings are hurt, man. I'm hurt by that. That hurt me. That made me sad. Think about that. We don't say that. That made me sad. What do we say? Fuck it, man. It is what it is. I'm good. I'll be all right. Shit, I'm going to just get high. I'm going to just fuck a bitch. I'm going to go get this money. Shit, it is what it is. That's not properly handling your mental health. I had to recognize, like, damn, I'm sad right now. That just, and it's going to take you a minute before you don't feel like a bitch. Just say that out your mouth right now, Bryce. I guarantee you haven't said that in years, maybe not ever. Just as an experiment, say those words. Nobody's listening to you right now. Just say it. Just say it. Just think about something that made you sad, even if it's just the condition of our people, and just say, damn, that makes me sad, bro. I'm sad about that. That hurt my feelings. What this person did hurt my feelings. They hurt my pride. Just say it. It doesn't, when you first start to say it, it don't even feel right. It feels like somebody about to just jump out the closet or jump from under the bed and just point fingers at you and make fun of you. Because you're like, what? I can't say that. But the more you start saying it to yourself and recognizing when it's happening, I'm angry right now. Why am I angry? See, the next time you get angry, ask yourself, why am I angry? Well, because this person said this to me. And why did this person saying that thing to me make me angry? Well, because I feel like they're trying to play me. And why did them trying to play me make me feel this way? Well, because other people have tried to play me, and and niggas treat me like a bitch. And this, so go deeper. Start going deeper. Before you react to something, just go deeper. Why did this thing make you so upset? Why did this thing make you so mad? Because you know niggas love to be mad. We'll say that in a minute. A nigga will, every Black man will say that. We don't have a problem saying it. He made me mad. But if you dig a little deeper, actually your pride was hurt. Actually, your feelings were hurt. There's a lot of shit that people have done to just straight up hurt my feelings. Hey, Gail. And Gail is a Black woman. It's a lot easier for women to say, my feelings were hurt. I'm sad right now. But even women have to deal with their mental health in a certain way. But when it comes to men in particular, Black men, you never hear no niggas saying I'm sad. Remember, go look up the video. Go watch the whole video of Tyrese crying for his daughter. And understand that became a meme. People joked about that. He said he was paying, I think he said he was paying like $13,000 a month or 30. I can't remember if he said 13 or 30. Either way, he was paying thousands of dollars a month in child support, and he wasn't even able to see his daughter. If you don't have kids, you don't know what that feels like. But if you have kids, you know, I hope you don't have to ever find out what it's like to not see your kids for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, even worse, years at a time, and he's still paying thousands of dollars in child support and still not being able to see his kid. That's when he said, "What more do you want from me?" And he started crying on camera because he didn't know anything else to do. All that money, as handsome as he is, as much as he can sing, a sex symbol, he's famous, he's in Transformers, he's in Fast and the Furious. He was reduced to a little bitty child and was crying on camera. Go watch the YouTube video of Tyrese, "What more do you want from me?" But watch the whole rant. He didn't start off crying. He was explaining to the internet and to the world that he missed his daughter. He was sad. Black men are not allowed to be sad without being made fun of, or he must be gay, or he must be weak. But I think it's important for Black men to be in touch with their emotions. I do. And I think it was a trick. Whoever told us that we shouldn't show emotion and we shouldn't be sensitive. It's important to be sensitive. Because if you're not sensitive to your energy, then you're gonna be, how do I say this? Because this is important. If you are not sensitive to your surroundings and what you feel and where it's coming from, then you are going to be vulnerable, right? If something is crawling on my shoulder, but I don't feel it because I don't have the sensitivity there, if something's crawling on my leg, or if imagine an antelope or one of these animals, that a deer or one of these animals that the lions chase, right? Or the cheetah is chasing. If the cheetah is not sensitive to his or her environment and aware of every little crumple and every little crinkle of the leaf, he's going to get attacked because he didn't see the cheetah coming. He didn't feel the shift in the energy. So it's important for us to be sensitive to everything that's going on around us and everything that's happening to our body and to our emotions and to our spirit. But Black men have been made into robots. So we're just, I'm mad, I'm about to kill this nigga, I'm about to crash out, or I'm just gonna get high, I'm just gonna dissociate. And I don't feel like that's right. And so yeah, I don't want to take too much time, and YouTube obviously doesn't want nobody coming into this live stream, and plus it's 12:30 in New York, it's 2:30, so I don't want to take too much time. I just want people to watch this. Anybody who does watch this, I particularly made this video for Black men, but it's also for anybody to understand that taking care of your mental health is important. And that's what I'm doing right now. That's why you guys don't really see me that often. I might just pop in real quick and do a quick little live talking, whatever. I'm not talking about Nolan Wells. I'm not doing it. Sorry, go find one of these millions of other. You're not going to have a problem finding somebody talking about all these recent cases. It's not me anymore. Not right now. I'm not talking about Nolan Wells. I'm not talking about Carmelo Anthony. I'm not going into detail on, well, this doesn't make sense, and we need to bring justice. Let somebody else handle that. I'm focused on my mental health, trying to get my situation right, trying to get my family right, and trying to get the people on here who's willing to listen so that we can all try to get ourselves right. I'm not breaking down the Nolan Wells case. I'm not breaking down the Carmelo Anthony case. I'm not breaking down the Cyrus case. There's another thing that just happened. Like I told you, every single week they got some new shit. What's the new one? Somebody else just got killed, or some other shit. Somebody was chopped up in pieces or found hanging, or some shit that just happened. Don't you guys see what's happening? Every week there's a new Black person found dead, and we have to get to the bottom of this, and somebody's trying to hide the evidence, and we have to come together as the Black community and get upset about it. Fuck that. Fuck that. I'm telling you straight up, fuck that. Let Benjamin Crump or whatever his name is, let him handle that, even though he's a Freemason. Go look that up, allegedly. The dude, Ben Crump, the black attorney who's always on all of these black cases, he's allegedly a Freemason. You guys can go look that up. I'm not allowing them to manipulate my energy. I'm not. And I'm going to tell you the truth. Since I've been focusing more on my mental health and my finances and my family, I've been feeling better. I've had more money. I've slept better. I look better. Like I told you, I went to the corner store, and the dude that used to work at the corner store, he told me, he said, okay, you put on a little weight. You put on some weight on your face and stuff. Like, you used to be super skinny. Like, you put on some weight. It's good to see you. You look good. And why did I put on weight? That's just a physical reaction to my mental health. I put on weight because I have wisdom. I have more wisdom now. I'm not living in fear now. I'm not living in paranoia and anxiety and depression now. You understand? I'm focusing on allowing God to provide for me and carry me now and lead me. And I understand a lot of y'all were like, man, J-Lethal, you used to do this. You used to be doing that. Man, look. Nobody was helping me when I was doing that shit. And I was depressed. And I was in survival mode. And I was homeless and broke and having nightmares every single night. Don't you know that I had nightmares every single night for years? Do you know what that's like? To have nightmares every single night for years. Multiple dreams. I'm not just talking about one nightmare. I'm talking about, you ever had 4 or 5 dreams in the same 8-hour period of sleep? You wake up and go back to sleep and have another motherfucking nightmare. I was having multiple nightmares every night for 5, 6, 7 years. That wasn't healthy. So now I went to prison. I stood down. I held it down, even though I was depressed in prison. I was so depressed in prison, man. I was so depressed in prison. I cried. I cried in there, not every night, but there was days I cried in there. I was depressed. I'm gonna read you. You know what? I'm gonna read you a paper that I made in prison. These are my prison papers. These are my prison papers. Let's see if I can find one of the letters I made when I was in prison. Hold on. Let's see if I can find one of the papers I made. I haven't even looked at these papers in a long time. Hold on. Give me 1 minute. I have all these fucking papers that I wrote in prison. And there was some papers that I wrote about every now and then when I was so depressed, I would just make a journal. And like when I was super depressed, like I just wanted to die, I would just make a journal. Where can I find that paper? I might not even be able to find them right now. Hold on. Oh, that's a spider. Sorry, I gotta kill this spider, y'all. I don't want to kill him, but I gotta kill you, buddy. Can't let no spider be in here. I want to read you this paper that I made when I was in prison. I had a journal. I just can't find it right now. Hold on, y'all. Damn, where is that shit at? Bryce, Did you ever write when you were in prison? Did you ever write any letters to yourself? And these were kind of like letters to myself, but more like kind of like suicide letters, really. I wasn't going to kill myself, but just in case I died, I needed to have somebody, if they found my stuff, I needed them to know how I felt. And I cannot find these damn journal papers. I have so many papers from my classes that I was taking. But why can't I find the journal papers? Hold on. Hold on 1 second, y'all. We're at 1 hour. I don't know where this shit is at, bro. Hold on 1 second. I think this is it right here. I think this is it right here. Yeah, this is it. This is it right here. Yep, this is definitely it. These are the papers right here. Hold on. Okay. This is one of the papers that I wrote when I was in prison. One of the poems, or whatever you want to call it, called By a Stream. And I want to read it to you right now. I haven't read this since I was in prison. I wrote this on January 29th, 2025. January, you see that? January 29th, 2025. It's called By a Stream. I want to write my thoughts and feelings on this paper, but I do not know where or how to begin. But I will attempt to describe what my soul is experiencing. I am currently living in a prison somewhere in Texas. This prison is physical, but in many ways, I also feel as though I am spiritually and mentally imprisoned as well. In a few days from now, I will reach the 1-year anniversary of my time in this place. So I feel it is proper and fitting that I document how I feel and what I think. The other day, while walking outside for the very brief time that I am allowed to do so, I spoke to God. Or at least I tried to. But then I immediately began to wonder if I was instead merely speaking to myself. I mean, in actuality, does God even truly exist? Or is it just myself that exists? Or is God actually myself? Does God live outside of myself? Or does he live inside of me? If he does indeed exist, then does God even listen or care about my thoughts or my prayers? Anyway, I told him, thank you for my life. But then I thought to myself, what is there to even be thankful for? I mean, I'm not happy at all anymore. I don't have my children or my freedom. Why am I alive? Am I actually even alive? Is there a distinction between being alive and living? Let me ask you that, Raheem. Is there a distinction between being alive and living? To be clear, even a person that is brain dead on life support is still technically alive in their vegetable state. But is such a person truly living a life worth of anything? I then began to ponder if I'm even alive at all. How can I be sure that I'm not actually dead? What if I'm living in hell and haven't even realized it yet? This would actually make a lot of sense, come to think of it. If I were in hell, that would explain why I am so utterly miserable. It would also explain why I feel like God has stopped speaking to me and listening and helping me. This reminds me of the scripture in the Bible, which I periodically pick up and read in attempts to reach, understand, or possibly communicate with God. There was a man named David. Solo. Listen to this, Dave. Listen to this, Solo. There was a man named David in the Bible that was running and hiding in the wilderness from a group of powerful people that were trying to kill him. He wrote a message and spoke to God in his distress. In the book of Psalms, chapter 22 in particular, go look this up, Solo. The book of Psalms, chapter 22, he asks, my God, why have you forsaken me? This is how I feel, truly. If I'm being honest, I have often wished and prayed that I could just simply die and cease to exist. There are problems with that, though. For one, I simply don't have the courage to end my own life. And besides, my children don't deserve to have a parent that kills themselves in prison. That would hurt them. So I find myself still holding on, even if it's by a string. And that was my prayer, or my poem called By a String. I'll read one more. This one's called Sitting in This Dungeon. This was made January, March, April, May. This was made on May 25th, 2025. May 25th, 2025. Sitting in this dungeon. I have been sitting in a dungeon for nearly a year and a half. The experience has been challenging, to say the least. There are many things that have bothered me about this experience, but I would have to say that the most difficult thing for me has been sitting. I have been sitting with my thoughts, my emotions, my fears, my insecurities, my anger, my resentment, my bitterness, my regrets, my sadness, my ego, my dreams, my nightmares, my anxiety, as well as many other feelings. I guess these things have always been with me, but they usually are in the back seat of my mind, so to speak, before I got here. You see, when I was free, if there is actually such a thing, I was able to distance myself from these things by distracting myself with drugs, alcohol, work, pornography, the internet, etc. But now I am no longer using those things. I am sober. This sudden sobriety has forced me to be confronted by all of the thoughts and emotions that I was previously ignoring. I suppose I was hiding from them. Why? Well, I guess I knew subconsciously how much work and discomfort would be required in order to truly identify, accept, address, and repair, and ultimately grow from them. As of today, I can say that I am fighting to survive. The question now is, am I fighting in vain? And am I fighting my own self? What am I trying to save? What would become of me if I were to stop fighting? Would I survive? My sincere hope is that if something in me does die, it is the part of me that does not productively serve me and others with love. That's just one of my writings that I made in prison. And I found myself only writing these things when I was severely depressed and I wanted to die. I never really wrote when I was happy or inspired. I wrote one rap when I was in Harris County, but you can't take any of the paperwork from jail into prison, so they threw away my papers. But I had this really deep rap or a poem. But yeah, man. The last part of mental health that I'll talk about today is writing, I guess. I was told that when all else fails, you should try to write, like I did. If you have so much on your brain and you don't have a YouTube channel like I do to talk to people and trying to get your voice out, and you don't have nobody to talk to, write it out. Just write. You don't have to worry about sounding correct, using the correct grammar, the correct punctuation, the correct vocabulary. You don't have to spell the words right. Just write how you feel. Even if it's the worst shit you've ever said, just write it. Continue to write it. Whatever comes to your mind, just write it. The worst thoughts in your fucking head, just write it. If you want to kill yourself, you want to kill somebody else, just write it down. Until you can't write no more, until you're not motivated to write anymore. And then put it away. Don't even look at it. Like I did. I haven't even looked at those papers since I've been in jail, but this was the right time to read them. And even reading them back to you right now, it transports me back to how I was feeling at that time. I was so utterly depressed and so sad. But it gives me hope because God brought me out of that. And I brought me out of that. And now I don't feel like that anymore. I don't want to die. I don't feel completely hopeless. I don't feel completely abandoned. And that just goes to show you that life moves in waves. So don't ever get too stuck on any wave, whether it's a high wave, a low wave. Don't ever get too stuck on it because things change. So go with the seasons and understand that the seasons are here to teach us something. Sometimes it might be cold. It might be December. Sometimes it might be hot. It might be June, July. Sometimes it might be nice and breezy. It might be March, April. You know, there's different seasons, but you can't make a permanent decision in the summer because it's too hot. Now, peep game, what I just told you, y'all. Don't make a permanent decision in the summer just because you're too hot. Don't make a permanent decision in the winter because you're too cold. Because when the seasons change and now it's warmer outside and it's fall or it's nice and sunny outside, you're going to regret making that decision because you were too cold and you couldn't have the foresight to think about the next season. So I hope that resonates with you. We'll talk a little bit more about all of this stuff later. I just want to come on and give my thoughts about mental health when it comes to people, but particularly Black men in general. Don't feel too weak to say I'm sad. You know, don't feel too weak to say my feelings are hurt. My pride is hurt. I'm angry. I'm upset. Because once you can recognize what you're feeling and why you're feeling it, then you can become in control of the situation. You can control your emotions. You can control your response. But as long as you're allowing these things to dictate how you feel and you don't even know how you feel, you just feel uncomfortable, so you lash out, which is what too many of us do. Now you're in trouble. So anyway, thank you guys for coming in. I just wanted to talk to you guys real quick about mental health. I didn't want to take too long. I know I just randomly just pop up and stuff like that. So shout out to y'all. I'll read you some more stuff later. Anyway, I love you guys. Remember what I told you. Don't let the news and this stuff on social media get you. Oh my God, I can't believe this is going on. I can't believe this woman said this. I can't believe this African said that. I can't believe this white man said that. I can't believe this black man was found dead. I can't believe Donald Trump said that. Don't allow it to move you. Please. I'm asking you. This is for the sake of us and our future and our children. It's important for us to gain clarity, master ourselves. One of these days, I'm not going to be able to be here to talk to you like this. I will say this one last thing. Speaking of which, one of my best friends, his sister died the other day, and he posted on Instagram that his sibling died. And this is my best friend going back to second grade, literally. And I hadn't talked to him in maybe at least 5 years. But this is one of my best friends. He's still out in California. And but I haven't spoken to him in like 5 years just because I have my own shit going on. But then he posted that his sister died. And I called and I asked him what happened, and he sent me his number, and I already had his number. So I called him, and we talked for like 2-3 hours. And this is how I know we're still best friends, because we talk like we talk every single day. I haven't talked to him in 5-6 years. And when we talked, it was like we never missed one day. And we had a good talk. And I just ended up telling him at the end, brother, I love you. I respect you. I look up to you. I admire you. Thank you for being my friend. I'm sorry for not calling you more often. I hope you know that I have nothing against you, and I love you, and I wish the best for you. I love the family, and I'm always here for you to the end of time. And that's the way I ended the conversation. It was important for me to tell him that, even if he might have already known that, or I thought he already knew that, because a lot of times we'll be like, they know that. No, it's important to tell people that you love them, So I told my friend I loved him. His sister died. His younger sister recently died, which is very tragic. But it made me recognize that, as we know, life is short. And it's important, like I said, to cultivate and maintain our relationships. So with that being said, I love y'all. And I appreciate y'all. And if I'm not here, if there's ever a time that comes that I'm not here to be able to talk to you like this, I have appreciated the time that I've been able to talk to you. I have appreciated all our laughs, the cries, the surprising moments, the vulnerable moments. And I'm just going to remind you to take care of your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, and your physical health. So with that being said, I love you. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to holler at you again soon. So next time I see you, holler at your fucking boy. Please. Vibrate higher.